Today we want to go over duct sealing. We're going to seal some ductwork that we made in our previous videos. The importance of duct sealing is really overlooked. It's a lot more important, especially when it comes to testing, and there's a lot of little nuances when you're duct sealing that you need to pay attention to. So the first thing we want to do is go over some of the tools. So the duct seal comes in either 1 gallon tubs, or you can get it in little caulk tubes. We're going to paint it on with just a wood chip brush. If you're doing exposed ductwork and you need to make your duct seal look really nice, you can use painter's tape to give you a nice line of the duct seal around the joints. And if we have to seal ductwork outside of ideal weather conditions, and we'll go over what some of those weather conditions are, we can go and use hard cast tape and put it on with a squeegee, but we want to be using duct seal as our first line of defense when it comes to sealing ductwork. So duct seal, I will say, does not come out of your clothes. So one of the most important things is that you don't wear your favorite band t-shirt when you're getting ready to duct seal. All right, now that I got my shirt on, that I'm not worried about getting some duct seal on it, a couple things we want to go over. You want to use this stuff right out of the bucket. We don't want to thin it, cut it with water, any of that stuff. It's ready to go right out of the bucket or the caulk tube. We need to make sure that it is stored between 35 and 110 degrees. It needs to be stored between those temperatures, and it can only be applied in between those temperatures. Not so worried about the 110, but if you start getting into the freezing temperature, this is water-based, it will freeze and crack, and it will not do its job. This stuff is for pressure applications up to 15 inches of water column, so we don't really get into anything where this is not going to have the correct rating for that. When it's on the ductwork, we do not want the ductwork to get wet. So if this is an exterior application, we cannot be using this particular Pro Seal. They do make a Pro Seal that's for exterior applications. The more common issue is when you're installing this in a building and the GC wants you to turn your air conditioning on to temper the building, and we don't have the insulation complete, your ductwork can sweat. That sweating will make the duct seal become liquid again and drip off of the ductwork. They say it takes up to 3 days for this to do a full cure. Usually after 24 hours, it's in pretty good shape. And it's just really important overall to know the specs of your job, know how it's going to be inspected, what the seal class of the ductwork is. But once you know all that stuff, let's start sealing one of these pieces of duct. First thing we're going to look at sealing here is we're going to seal this piece of slip and drive duct that we assembled in a previous video. So some of the crucial areas you got to really make sure we're sealing are going to be around these corners and on the inside of the drive. We want to make sure that we're doing a really good job with the slips as well, but your bigger gaps are going to be around your drive. When we're painting the duct seal on, you want to make sure it's at least a 1/16 inch thick. So when we're putting it on, and we'll show you here, you want to make sure you're getting it pushed back into these joints, and then when we smooth it out, we want to make sure that it's remaining that consistent thickness the whole way. I always relate this more to like putting on drywall mud, more so than painting. When you're prefabbing duct on the ground and sealing it before you put it up, try to get some blocking or something under it so we can seal the duct the whole way around and not worry about the bottom sitting on something. So just kind of want to demonstrate what I was talking about here. Is we put it on pretty thick. We push the duct seal back under the drives. And once we have it pushed back under the drives, we can then smooth it out and try to make it look neater. Make sure to put a lot of focus on your corners, because your corners are going to be where the bigger gaps are. And anywhere it looks like air can leak out, we need to seal. Now that we did the drive, we'll go ahead and do the slip on top. We screwed our slip in the previous video, so make sure we're sealing around the screw. So here I taped off the joints. If we're hanging bare metal ductwork and it's going to be exposed, it's not very hard to put the painter's tape on, and I'll demonstrate that after we seal it, you can peel the painter's tape off and give yourself a much nicer edge. Much cleaner looking for the customer. When you're ordering your ductwork through the sheet metal shops, there's an option to order your ductwork as sealed. A lot of jobs that are spec jobs will require the longitude seams, which would be the long seams, to be sealed as well. If you order your ductwork sealed from the shop, it'll come out sealed already. If it's not ordered sealed, they're not going to seal it at the shop. And if the specs are requiring it, or if you're getting a pressure test, you're most likely going to have to seal it yourself out on the site. I did not order my ductwork sealed through the shop, so I get to seal it myself on site, which you have to do as you're assembling it. When we're painting it on, keep in mind we want it to be at least a 16th inch thick, and you only need to seal the inside where the joints are. So I had a Pittsburgh here and a Pittsburgh on this corner. There's no need to do it where it's just a bent angle. With the longitude seams on these, it's the same as the slip and drive. You can order it sealed. If you didn't, you have to seal it from the inside, or if it really comes down to it, you can seal this from the outside. It just looks like hell. So we don't want to be doing that. For sealing the corners, right in here is going to be the hot spot where air could have leaked out if the butyl is not in properly. So we just want to make sure that we are filling the gaps in these corners here adequately. You want to do that on both sides, and then rinse and repeat for all four corners. Now that our ductwork is sealed, we want to make sure that we give the duct seal a chance to set up and become solid before we try to cover it with any type of insulation or wrap. The stuff can grow some fuzzies if we cover it up too soon, so we don't want to be insulating it and not letting it get air to dry right away. But this concludes our three-part video of slip and drive and TDC duct assembly and sealing. If there's anything else you'd like me to go over, please reach out.